Valentine's Day edition of Sports Vibes Podcast, where I'm your host, Richard Moss. You already know the vibes, man. Listen, happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Listen, I know this episode's a little late, but look, I kind of wanted to do it a little special Valentine's Day. I got my boy Rocco with me. You see Rocco, say what's up, Rocco. Say what's up to the people. It's my boy. Listen, after the show, if any females would like to adopt Rocco, we taking applications, okay? All right, Rocco, you want to go to a nice home? Man, he's coolin'. He gonna be with me all episode. But anyways, like I said, happy Valentine's Day to everybody. You know, I hope everybody got a lot of chocolate, a lot of roses, and all that good stuff, man. But you know what we do here. We gonna get into the sports. So let's jump right into it. Busy week for the NBA and the NFL. As everybody knows, it is NBA All-Star Weekend. It is upon us. It starts tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow kicks off NBA All-Star Weekend. But first, we going to jump to the NFL first. Some big news this weekend, okay? Not even this weekend, just this week. I mean, got a lot to talk into, a lot to get into, so we just going to jump right into it. Here we go. Big day to get into in the NFL. Big week, actually. A lot of things happened this week. A lot of big things. First and foremost, what we're going to talk about is, of course, everybody knows Antonio Brown, the Pittsburgh Steelers star wide receiver, did request a trade a couple days ago. Officially he had posted something on Instagram, giving a farewell to the Steelers fans and things of that nature. He also made it clear that he would like to go to, possibly the San Francisco 49ers. So what does this mean for the Steelers? To me, it just shows the dysfunction of the Steelers, honestly. I mean, the Steelers, since the beginning of time, pretty tip-top, blue collar, lunch pail, come to work type of organization. But for the last couple years, it seems like ever since, Ben has got, he's felt like, well, I'm Big Ben, I got 2 Super Bowls, I'm going into the Hall of Fame, I can kind of say whatever I want. Mike Tomlin not checking, his players, whether it be Ben, whether it be Antonio Brown, kind of just letting a little bit of a circus, run amok to, there's talks about there being some sort of jealousy between Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster. And it's just a lot of stuff, with the whole Le'Veon Bell situation earlier just this past season. Linemen talking out against him, teammates talking against him, some teammates. The whole organization itself is just in flux. So you're going to lose Le'Veon Bell. You're going to lose your best receiver in Antonio Brown. It's going to be tough. I don't see this being a good thing for the Steelers, but you never know. Like I said, it does make it a little bit easier since now Juju Smith-Schuster is clearly your number 1 wide receiver. And, a lot of people will say that, hey, Juju's, emerged as this number one receiver because of the presence of Antonio Brown, which I cannot argue. If there's no way you're putting one-on-one coverage or you're easing coverage off of Antonio Brown to double Juju Smith-Schuster. I'd much rather, give Juju single coverage and just say, hey, Juju, you beat us, than Antonio Brown beat us. I know Antonio Brown can beat us. So, for the Steelers, to me, if I'm the Steelers, I'm not. You under contract, Antonio Brown. You ain't going nowhere. You going to play for this organization. If you don't want to play for this organization, give me some of that money back then. But we know, this is the NFL. That's not how things go. But, if I'm the Steelers, I don't want Antonio Brown to go anywhere, okay? You signed a contract. You staying right here. I'm already paying you this money. But, as far as what this means for other teams, San Francisco, could it be a good move? Yes, possibly. Jimmy G is gonna come back from that torn ACL. It's in a whole nother conference on the other side of the world. It's California, San Francisco. Big staple out there in California. Who knows? As far as, to me, the best fit besides Pittsburgh for Antonio Brown, I mean, I would love for AB to go play with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, honestly, I'd love him to go to the Jags, but as it sits, we don't really have a quarterback right now. But I won't talk about that right now. But yeah, I'd love to see him in Green Bay. Who knows? Down there in New Orleans, give Michael Thomas and actually another receiver, take some pressure off him. I mean, he could go to a lot of places. Listen, what if the Patriots ended up getting it? Oh my God, I don't even want to think about that right now. But I mean, like I said, to me, if I'm San Fran, and AB is already talking about he wants to come here, I mean, I'd do it. Why not? You got a young, stud quarterback. You just paid a whole bunch of money to in Jimmy G. You're gonna be paying AB. I mean, why not? I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I mean, it's not like you guys were planning to win a Super Bowl next year anyway. But who knows? San Fran would be a nice fit. Like I said, I'd love to see him in Green Bay, New Orleans. I mean, I don't want to see it, but maybe even New England. They would have to do some, diddling and daddling, because that would take some work. AB he's owed a lot of bread, okay? A lot of money. So we shall see where that leaves Pittsburgh. I mean, technically, nothing can really be done till the start of the new NFL season, which is technically March 13th. So on to our next topic, Joe Flacco. So it seems like the Denver Broncos and the Baltimore Ravens had come to some sort of agreements for Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco will be traded to the Denver Broncos for a mid-level round pick. We don't know exactly what it is yet, but when I hear mid-level round pick, I'm thinking, anywhere from third to fifth, third to sixth, possibly. I mean, again, Joe Flacco isn't, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, or Phillip Rivers, even any of those type quarterbacks. But he is a Super Bowl MVP. Let's not forget that. And, old Joe has one of the best postseason runs of all time. So, I mean, we won't disrespect him. I think Joe will probably go for about, depending on how late, a late third rounder, maybe a fourth. I think you could definitely, give that to Joe. As far as Joe on Denver, I just don't understand how John Elway is one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game and is horrible at picking quarterbacks. I mean, let's be honest. If it wasn't for that makeshift of a year, that defense just playing stellar, that little Super Bowl, those two Super Bowls that Denver went to, within a couple years of each other, and winning and beating Cam Newton in Super Bowl 50. Let's be honest. I mean, John Elway would have done a really not so good job. I mean, his quarterback choices have been horrible. Again, I understand. Got Peyton Manning from the Colts, 55 touchdowns, breaks the record. Y'all go to the Super Bowl and get shellacked by the Seahawks and that Legion of Boom defense. Just shellacked. Then you make it to the Super Bowl again, and it's your defense that comes through. Your quarterback play was just not even average, below average at best. And since Peyton Manning has left, I mean, John Elway has not had good luck with quarterbacks. I mean, Brock Osweiler, Case Keenum. I mean, now you about to get Joe Flacco. I mean, again, it could work, but I mean, you have Emmanuel Sanders, in a pretty decent run game in Denver. I mean, I just don't know if that does it. Again, like I say, your defense is not the defense of a couple years ago that took you to those Super Bowls, John. So, Who knows? You would think that you would drafted somebody by now, but who am I? I'm not an NFL executive. But I mean, as far as for the Ravens, I mean, who didn't see this coming? I mean, listen, Lamar Jackson started the last 8 games, went 7-1 last 8 games. You know, didn't do so hot in the playoffs, but I mean, he's a rookie. His first playoff experience. I mean, that's to be expected. I mean, that's the future. The only question is, can Lamar Jackson last? That style of quarterback that he plays is very, very dangerous. So, but I mean, he is the future essentially. But I mean, if we're being honest, I mean, the Baltimore Ravens key has never necessarily been offense. It's always been that stellar defense. So, who knows? We'll see if Harbaugh wants to go in a different direction, next year and make it a little bit more offensive, centric. But, I highly doubt it. That's still a good defense there in Baltimore. I mean, that's the foundation of their whole organization is that defense. So, I mean, hey, good luck to you in Denver, Joe. We'll be rooting for you. Next up, we're going to be talking about Nicky Foles. So, the big question is, what are the Eagles going to do with Nick Foles? A lot of reports have been, circulating saying that the Philadelphia Eagles are thinking about franchise tagging Nick Foles and then trading him. To me, it's just a very tough situation. It's just, I've never seen a quarterback situation so complicated in the Philly. I mean, you have your clear franchise starter in Carson Wentz. I mean, that's your franchise quarterback. You moved heaven and earth in order to get him. You got him. I mean, last year he was about to be the NFL MVP if he didn't get hurt. I mean, it's just, that's your guy. But, I mean, from what history has told us, Carson Wentz can't finish an entire season, which is why you have Nick Foles as your backup plan. He's the emergency, the emergency kit, the emergency fix, the Band-Aid to kind of just hold things together. I mean, he won a freaking Super Bowl. So, I mean, it's just going to be tough to keep both of them on the roster. I mean, Nick Foles, obviously, he knows his role in Philly, but he wants to be a starter. Who doesn't? Who doesn't want to be? Especially when you're about to get paid. Now, as far as where I think Nick Foles should go, or where he might fit best, this is going to sound crazy to you. But I thought about it, and I thought about it long and hard. I went through every team, certain scenarios, and if I had to pick one team, again, I know it's going to sound crazy, but if I had to pick one team that I might say could do something with Nick Foles, listen, I'm going to have to say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, I know I got some Bucs fans out there like, what? We got Jameis Winston. He picked up his player option. We about to owe him $22 million, blah, 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 blah. Listen, I understand Bucs fans. Listen, just hear me out 1 second. If the Bucs and the Eagles were to come to some kind of deal where they would trade Jameis Winston for Nick Foles, I mean, honestly, I don't know if that would go straight up. It could. Possibly. It could go straight up. But here's why I say that. Listen, at least on the Bucs part, you trade for Nick Foles, you get rid of Jameis Winston, who, you're still unsure of, don't know about his off-field antics, things of that nature. I mean, you just kind of get him out of that organization. You bring in Nick Foles, right? Nick Foles, you already know, has no problem running the RPO or throwing the ball down the field. You have your deep threat in Deshaun Jackson. You also have granted, I understand Deshaun Jackson did ask for a trade and said he'd like to play for the Rams. But, I mean, you still have him. You still have Mike Evans, your number one wide receiver. You got O.J. Howard, decent tight end in the NFL. You have Jones running the rock. I mean, that offense could be something. And then now in the draft, once you have that Tampa, now you can start, tackling that defense. Like, you have a lot of problems defensively, especially in that secondary. I mean, you can address those issues. Again, call me crazy. For the Eagles side of it, though, if you was to get Jameis Winston, look, I understand a lot of off-the-field things going on with Jameis. Listen, I'm not going to disrespect Jameis Winston. He's a national champion, a Heisman Trophy winner, former number 1 overall pick. He should be a starter in the NFL. But, listen, sometimes things happen. Things happen, and you have to either reprove yourself, or sometimes you might just need a change of scenery. Now, look, clearly Jameis Winston wouldn't be a long-term deal for the Philadelphia Eagles. But what I'm saying is, for just this year coming up, I mean, the money is almost right about the same. I mean, essentially, if the Eagles franchise tag Nick Foles and then trade him, he's going to be almost owed about the same amount of money as Jameis Winston anyway. And then you're also paying Carson Wentz between 11 and 13 mil. So you're going to be essentially paying about over $30 million for your quarterback, your starting quarterback and your backup quarterback. I mean, what does it matter, who the backup quarterback is? Clearly, if Jameis Winston comes to Philadelphia, he's going to be the backup quarterback, and he'll be inserted if need be, if Carson Wentz goes down. Again, now if you don't need him, okay, you don't need him. In the offseason, he becomes a free agent. He can go wherever. Then you can address your backup quarterback position. But, I mean, that's also on the good side. Look, Carson Wentz made it a full year without being hurt if Jameis doesn't see the field. Again, it's not ideal. I know it sounds crazy, but it's just something that I thought of, that me personally, that's just my opinion, how I feel, or where I feel Jameis Winston should go. Nick Foles should go. And, I mean, hey, if they can make it work, I think it would be something good, especially for Tampa. In that division, Carolina, they don't know what's going on with Cam Newton. I mean, Atlanta is Atlanta. I mean, really, you would only have New Orleans to really worry about and compete for a division. And who knows, what New Orleans might be like next year. We don't know. So, hey, Bucks fans, I mean, listen, maybe y'all might need to start hashtagging that on Twitter. We want Nick. Anyways, on to the next subject. Oklahoma quarterback, Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray did announce this week saying that he is fully 100% committed to football, meaning he'd have to give a little bit of that. He'd have to give some of that money that the Oakland A's paid him, some of that money back, so he can go ahead. He's already declared for the draft, so he can go ahead and participate in the combine. To me, as far as Kyler Murray saying that, he wants to play football, listen, hey, I commend you. I mean, who doesn't want to play football? Listen, nothing against baseball, but, I mean, to be a star quarterback in the NFL, I mean, to me, I don't think it's nothing like it. I mean, don't get me wrong, baseball is good too, and it financially would probably be a little bit better for you in the long run, but ain't nothing like being an NFL quarterback. I'm pretty sure I can guarantee you that. Now, as far as him going in the draft, it's actually kind of crazy. So the Cardinals have the number one overall pick. They just hired a new head coach in Cliff Kingsbury, who said, granted, before he became the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, he said that he would take Kyler Murray number one. That he's that talented and he sees that much potential in him. I mean, look, I understand Cardinal fans. Y'all drafted Josh Rosen, number 10 overall, last year in the first round. And he's a young quarterback, had some decent moments last year. Nothing that jumped off the page. But he's a young quarterback. He was a rookie last year. But Kyler Murray, I mean, I think he can make plays. The only question I really have for Kyler Murray is, I don't necessarily think he's too small. Is he going to be able to absorb those kind of hits? I mean, you playing in a division. I mean, it's not the toughest division in the NFL, but I mean, you do got to see Aaron Donald twice a year. You know what I'm saying? I mean, listen, I don't know if you've seen Aaron Donald lately. That's a big boy, okay? I don't know if Kyler Murray can keep taking hits from Aaron Donald. I mean, it's just at some point the body's gonna be like, no mas, enough is enough. So that's really my only question with him. If I'm Cliff Kingsbury and the Arizona Cardinals, do I take him number one? Yes, I do. I'm sorry. Listen, I understand Nick Bosa, great defensive player, number one defensive player in the nation right now, but you cannot put a price on a franchise quarterback. Like I said, I understand Kyler Murray is a little bit smaller, not your ideal height, not your prototypical height, but he's a playmaker. He's a playmaker. I mean, and he went, granted, I'm not talking about winning national, but he's a Heisman Trophy winner. I understand, not necessarily, that doesn't necessarily mean anything come to the NFL level, but, I mean, how can you deny he's just a heck of an athlete? So, I mean, that in and of itself, I would draft him number one. I mean, you have a brand new coach, you get a brand new quarterback, they can grow together. I understand Josh Rosen is young as well, but to me, I just see way more promise with Kyler Murray. I feel like Kyler Murray could also become, to tell you the truth, I think Kyler Murray could become, even if he becomes, half or some semblance of a Russell Wilson, that's a pretty good quarterback. I mean, I wouldn't mind having Russell Wilson on my team, honestly. I mean, he's a playmaker. So that's what I'm seeing from Kyler Murray. I would definitely take Kyler Murray number one if I'm the Arizona Cardinals, or if I'm a team looking for a quarterback trying to trade up to that number one spot to get him. I mean, who knows? But if I'm the Cardinals, I'm definitely taking Kyler Murray number one overall. I wouldn't even think about it, and I deal Josh Rosen to the highest bidder. I mean, I don't know if you're going to get maybe a late first round. Who knows? Think about, you don't think Bill Belichick would give a late first round pick for Josh Rosen? I mean, I don't know if he would. I'm just saying, I mean, listen, you don't know. Any one of these other teams could do something with Josh Rosen. Come back, come sit behind somebody, groom him. The Saints, who knows, how long Drew Brees is still going to be there. You can groom Joshua. Listen, that's why I love the NFL, man, because it be so many things. It's unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, if you would have told me last year that Baker Mayfield was going to go number one, I would have bet my whole check on it that he wasn't. But I'd be a poor man, a homeless man right now if I would have done that. So, who knows? But we shall see what Arizona Cardinals and Cliff Kingsbury do. The NFL Combine is coming up. So, that's probably the next time we'll see Kyler Murray do his thing. So, hey, who knows? Who knows? We'll see what happens with that situation. Again, it is Valentine's Day today. So, you know what that means. All-Star Weekend. NBA All-Star Weekend definitely starts this weekend. It actually starts tomorrow. So tomorrow, they are kicking it off with the Celebrity Game and the USA versus World Game. Saturday, you'll have the Taco Bell Skills Challenge, the Mountain Dew 3-point contest, and you're going to have the Slam Dunk contest as well. Saturday, and then of course Sunday is the All-Star Game. Couple names in the Celebrity All-Star Game. Ray Allen will be playing. Bad Bunny, Quavo, last year's MVP, will be playing. Ronnie 2K, for all my 2K players, they know what's up. Terrence J, Dr. Oz, JB Smooth, and Famous Los. I think I got my money on Famous Los for MVP, because Famous Los can actually hoop, man. Hey, shout out to Famous Los, man. He can actually hoop. I follow him on Instagram, and I be watching his videos all the time. That boy, he can ball now. He can ball a little bit. So I really, his boy B.A.5 was in the celebrity game. I think either last year or the year before. So I've been waiting for Famous Los to make an appearance. Also, too, man, what we got to do to get Filet in the All-Star game? I definitely need to see him either next year, sometime soon. That boy can ball too. But then next we gonna move on to Saturday. We're gonna stick with Friday. We got Team US versus Team World. That's the Rising Stars Challenge. Now, Team US team consists of Jared Allen from the Nets. We got Marvin Bagley from the Kings, Lonzo Ball from the Lakers, John Collins from the Hawks, De'Aaron Fox from the Sacramento Kings, Jaren Jackson from the Memphis Grizzlies. We got Kevin Knox from the Knicks, Kyle Kuzma from the Lake Show, Donovan Spider Mitchell from the Jazz. We got Jason Tatum from the Celtics and Trae Young from the Hawks. That is the U.S. team for the Rising Stars Challenge. Then Team World, we got OG Anunoby from the Toronto Raptors, DeAndre Ayton from the Suns, Bogdan Bogdanovic from the Sacramento Kings, your boy Luka Doncic, who I got my money on him for MVP. I'm not even going be frank with it. I think Luka gonna put on a show, man. I think this is what he lived for. He put on a show regularly at Mavs games. So I think Luka gonna put on a show. Got Gilgeous Alexander from the Clippers. Also got Karooks from the Nets. I got Marketing from the Bulls. Josh Okogie from the T-Wolves. C.D. Osman from the Cavs and Ben Simmons from the 76ers. All with Team World. Okay? Like I said, I got Luka Doncic as my MVP. So, clearly, I think Team World is going to win. Just because the Rising Stars Challenge, man, they try to make it, as close to the All-Star game as possible. Little to no defense is played really till the fourth quarter. But most of the time, you have that rookie who's like, oh, I'm going to put on a show and stuff like that. And my pick is on Luka Doncic. So I got Luka Doncic winning MVP of the Rising Stars Challenge on Saturday. Now, on to the fun stuff on Saturday. On Saturday, we also have the Taco Bell Skills Challenge, and the participants consist of Jason Tatum, Trae Young, Luka Doncic, Michael Conley, Kyle Kuzma, De'Aaron Fox, Nikola Jokic, and Nikola Vucevic from the Orlando Magic. Okay, so that's your skills challenge. To tell you the truth, I'm gonna go with Luka again, man. Listen, I know I'm being biased just because I like Luka, but like I said, I think this is what Luka, does. I think he wants to put on a show, man. Watch him. He's probably gonna have on some crazy all-star kicks or something like that. So we'll see. My money's on Luka for the Taco Bell Skills Challenge. So then we got the Mountain Dew 3-point contest. Okay. Got the defending champ Devin Booker in there. Seth Curry from the Trailblazers, and his brother Steph Curry from the Golden State Warriors. Got Danny Green, who is my pick for winner. A lot of people sleep on Danny Green, but Danny Green got a cool little stroke, man. I mean, I just think Danny Green is gonna win. It's like it's crazy every year. You think somebody's gonna win? Who would have ever thought Devin Booker was gonna win it last year? So that's who I got. Danny Green as my winner. Got Joe Harris from the Nets. Buddy Hield from the Kings. Now, Buddy Hield is actually my dark horse pick. I'm not gonna lie. Like if Danny Green gets bumped out, I'm gonna go with Buddy Hield to win it. If Danny Green gets knocked out, let's say you have a bad performance, I'm gonna go with Buddy Hield. That's my dark horse to win it. I know I didn't pick Steph or I didn't pick Steph. I understand, but look, I think Steph is just there to have fun. Granted, he wants to win. I know he's competitive, but I don't think it means that much to him. Dame Dollar got Chris Middleton, Kemba Walker, and Dirk to round out the 3-point shooters. Okay, like I said, Danny Green I got as my winner. My dark horse I have as Buddy Hield from the Kings. Then the to me, it should be the most exciting event of the night. Honestly, it should be the dunk contest. We got Dennis Smith Jr., we got Miles Bridges from the Hornets, John Collins from the Hawks, and Hamidou Diallo from the Thunder. Okay, my money, to tell you the truth, I'm gonna go with John Collins, just because that man can jump out of the gym. Look, I understand the other slam dunk participants are super athletic, got bunnies too, but listen, that man John Collins, I think he got something up his sleeve. Honestly, like I think he gonna show us something this year. Honestly, that's just how I feel. And then, last but not least, we do have the All-Star game on Sunday. Sunday is the All-Star game. My pick is Team LeBron. I mean, he just has a better team. I mean, I honestly don't know what Giannis was thinking while he was drafting, but hey, look, what am I supposed to do? Team LeBron definitely has the best team. Of course, it's gonna how every All-Star game goes. No little to no defense is played until the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. That's when they start playing defense. Starters will get back in and stuff like that. So we shall see, man. It should be a very fun and interesting All-Star game. I would say Russell Westbrook would be my pick for MVP in this All-Star game. But to tell you the truth, because I of course, him being one of the last picks, I know he was like, and then he got traded for Ben Simmons. I mean, he was just probably like, what the heck? But I think Russ is gonna go hard. But I got my money on Greek Freak for this MVP. I mean, like I said, of the two cats, I don't think LeBron is gonna do much. LeBron will probably just throw a couple lobs, do a couple passes and stuff like that. But I think Greek Freak is gonna go for it. He's gonna go hard. I also think he's gunning for the regular season MVP too. So we shall see, man. We shall see. It should be a fun weekend. Like I said, man, look. This wraps up another episode of Sports Vibes Podcast, where, man, you already know the vibes. Listen, please like, comment, and subscribe, okay? I said, make sure you tell your friends about this podcast, man. This is what we do every week, okay? We tackle the biggest stuff, the biggest news in sports, okay? The biggest stories and all that good stuff. Also, too, I know I said last week I was going to try to get some guests here. Listen, you know how this weather is in New York, man. Due to some crazy weather, wasn't able to do it. But don't worry, I'm working on that for you guys, okay? Because I know you guys getting tired of it, just hearing me talk. But anyways, listen, like I said, hey, I appreciate y'all being with me this week, okay? This wraps up another week of Sports Vibes Podcast, where you know the vibes. And I'm going to see y'all next week. Peace. Say bye, Rocco. Say bye. Say bye. See y'all later, man. Peace.